Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Daria if you're new here, and in today's practice we'll be doing some reflection and some restorative postures. So this isn't going to be like a full-on yin practice, but just a really calming and gentle sort of stretch. I just ran a half marathon yesterday, and so I'm definitely in the recovery phase. So this is a great practice for whenever you're needing a reset or to recover from a workout, or just to get a nice gentle stretch. So I'll be doing a little bit of less cueing so it can really be internally focused. If there is some calming music that you'd like to put on, I would recommend that. And try to just take this practice to look internally and come away from any distractions in your day or anything that you may have been avoiding through the running around that we're often doing a lot of in our lives. For this class, if you have a pillow or a bolster of some kind, grab one of those and a couple of blocks. If you don't have any props, that's totally fine. These are just here to help you be a little more comfortable and supported. And then whenever you're ready, let's go ahead and get into it. We'll get started today from standing in a ragdoll fold. So find your way up to your feet. The feet are hips distance apart here. Bend your knees enough so that you can fully relax your belly and your chest down over your thighs. And then allow for the back of your neck to soften so that the very top of your skull is reaching toward the ground. And then feel free to take any arm variation that you like, maybe reaching for opposite elbows, or I like to interlace the fingers at the back of the head and create a little bit of a pressing down to elongate the upper back and the cervical spine. From here, begin just to settle into some deeper breaths, inhaling fully, and use your exhales to let go of tension. Try to send the breath directly to what you're feeling, like you're breathing through it, working with any tension. You can sway a little side to side, soften your face. Good. Bring your fingertips down either to blocks or the mat in front of your toes. Take a breath in and just iron out through the spine like a ripple, waving back through the tailbone and forward through the crown of your head into a halfway lift. As you exhale, just fold back in. Chest coming to your thighs, crown of head reaching toward the earth. 2 more times. Inhale, filling up the body with breath, inflating the spine into a halfway lift. And exhale to fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Make your way now down to your hands and your knees, placing the palms so that they are stacked beneath the shoulders. And then land your knees hips distance apart, right beneath your hips. And just take a moment to kind of massage into your body with whatever movements want to come to life here. This is a chance to connect more to your intuitive sense of movements. It doesn't have to look like anything or be anything at all. Don't worry about looking silly. Maybe cat-cows in the spine, arching and rounding, opening up the core if there's any soreness in those muscles. And you can play with spinning your fingertips to point different directions, possibly back to the thighs, opening into the forearms, the wrists, and maybe feeling it all the way up to the biceps. And as you're exploring movement here, take this time to also explore how you're doing on the inside. Check in with your physical body as well as the emotional state and even the thoughts, noticing as they're flowing through. Try to see your thoughts just as like clouds passing through the sky. So as soon as they enter your field of vision, they're moving through and then making space for something new. And begin to neutralize your spine. Take a big step out to the side with your right foot and then anchor the foot flat so the pinky side roots as well as the big toe side. Bend your knee deeply and begin making circles through your hips. You might feel this into your inner thighs and the groin. You might feel some sensation down the outer line of the leg. And you'll notice that if you turn your toes to point different directions, you'll feel different sensations. You can even play with flexing the foot and flipping your toes up toward the sky, or do whatever that feels good. And then pause the movement. Keep the right leg extended straight to the side. Root into the right palm. As you breathe in, reach the left arm up to the sky, turning your heart to the long edge of your mat. As you breathe out, thread the needle. Left arm comes all the way through, shoulder to the ground. Reach the crown of your head forward and then rest the left side of your cheek to the earth as well. You can stay right here. Right palm can stay anchored, and you can move more deeply into the thoracic spine twist. Maybe reach forward with the right arm and find the leaning of the chest onto the left shoulder to create compression. Or you can take a half bind by sending the right arm all the way around and back until your fingertips can connect to the front of the left thigh. Just take a few steady breaths here. If you're in the bind, go ahead and unwind. Press into the right palm. Take an inhale, counter twist, left fingertips rise. And an exhale back to tabletop. Left palm down, step your right knee in. Other side, left foot takes a big step out to the side. Foot goes flat, pinky side and big toe side pressing evenly. Bend at the knee and just take some gentle movements. It can be different than what you did on the first side. The sides of our body, it's very normal for the sides of our body to create different sensations and for us to have some different range of motion. So try to explore where you are in the present. If there's anywhere that you want to pause the movement and just breathe for a couple of rounds, feel free to do that. And then stop moving and find stillness with the left leg extended. Breathe in, reach your right fingertips up to the sky, turn your torso open from the rib cage. And then as you breathe out, thread the needle. Right shoulder comes down, head to the mat, and breathe here. We'll take a couple rounds finding any arm variation that feels good, or you can move through all of them. Release the bind if you took it. Press into your left palm. Breathe in, stretch the right arm up to the sky. And breathe out, find hands and knees. Press your finger pads into the earth, tuck your toes under, and just come back into a downward facing dog for a couple of breaths. Keep it sweet. Nothing needs to be a super intense sensation. Try to just feel for what's manageable. And then breathe through the sticky spots and also move through the sticky spots. We don't always have to stay perfectly still. Sometimes movement, I find, actually serves better in deepening the posture. Lift your heels and then bring your knees back to the mat. And we'll come into a hip opening stag leg stretch. So starting with the right shin forward, it's sort of like a modified half pigeon. If you prefer to take half pigeon, that's okay too. So the shins can be angled anywhere between 45 degrees with the heels pulled in closer to the body, or more toward 90, where the front shin is more parallel with the top of your mat. And it's okay if the left hip here is kind of floating away from the earth. Just try to encourage it down. Place your fingertips beside you. Take a breath in. Lengthen up through the crown of your head. Breathe out. You can stay here, or you can start to lean forward with the torso. Try to keep reaching through your heart so your spine stays elongating. And maybe eventually you migrate the hands forward of your shin. You can come onto forearms or bring forearms to blocks. Take your time. There is absolutely no rush. Feel the sweetness of your breath. And then close your eyes as we stay here for about 5 more rounds so that all of your awareness can really become immersed into what you're feeling. Begin to walk yourself back to an upright position. Come through center, so roll onto both sit bones. You can bring the fingertips behind you, root your heels, and then let your knees open wide a couple times to the sides. Just like butterfly wings kind of flapping it out. And then go to the other side. So the left shin now is forward. Opposite leg extends directly out from your hip. Find the alignment that feels good and then flex through your feet, especially paying attention to pressing into the knife edge of the front foot to protect the knee as we stretch. Breathe in, lift through the spine, and then breathe out to come forward. Do a little scan to check for places in your body where you're holding tension that you don't need to be. Relax your shoulders all the way down your arms into the hands and the fingers. Unclench your teeth, unwrinkle your forehead. Begin to press down and rise back up. One more time, come through a seated position, hands behind you, and drive your knees wide to the sides a couple times to release. From here, we'll come into Baddha Konasana, bound angle. For today, I'm gonna have a wider diamond shape in the legs. You're welcome to pull the heels in closer to your body though, if that feels better. And then you can incorporate props as you like. Maybe have a block handy to rest your forehead down onto, or the bolster if it feels good for you. The props are really just here to create more comfort and more support. So you can play and adjust however you need. Before folding forward, just take a breath in, find an upright spine. You can pull back on the ankles, wiggle so you feel the sit bones roots. And then as you start to come forward, keep reaching through the heart, heart forward action. And again, we'll just stay for about 5 rounds of breath, so we're not holding for an incredibly long amount of time. But notice if the still more introspective type of practice feels uncomfortable in any way. And take this time to examine where that discomfort might come from. Maybe it's just that your more habitual patterns are faster moving. And so try to check in with the effects of slowing down. Notice if there's something calming and restorative about this practice for you. Start to make your way back up to a seat. And now take your legs wide into a straddle position. Try not to force it. You can just open them about as wide as they'll organically go. And then if you feel you have a little more space to move the pelvis forward, that's fine. Again, maybe bring a block in front of you, or you can have the bolster or a pillow, whatever you have in front of you to lie down onto. So breathing in, lift through your spine. And then same thing as you fold forward. Find what's comfortable and find a position where you can breathe and stay. 5 rounds of breath. Notice if any distractions are coming through your mental space. If your thoughts are moving toward the past or toward the future. And try not to judge this as it arises. This is very normal for the mind to fluctuate, but just try to anchor back into the breath and to the present sensations. If you folded forward, start to walk your fingertips back in. You can release any props off to the top of your mat and find your way to lying on your belly. We'll come into Sphinx. So the forearms are down. The elbows can be about an inch more forward than your shoulders, and then walk your feet back. Try to drag a little bit back on your elbows, broaden your collarbones, open the heart. And you might be good right here. If you'd like a little more, you can press into your palms and float your elbows away from the mat. Maybe walk your hands in slightly closer to your torso. Notice if there becomes a crunchy sensation into your low back, and if so, just lessen the degree of your back bends. Keep your shoulders rolling away from the ears, down the back. Shoulder blades are hugging. And then if it feels okay, you can tuck your chin toward your chest to open the back of the neck even more. Keep lifting through the pelvic floor and the low belly to support the low back. Breathe in. As you breathe out, come back onto the forearms if you lifted. Take the left hand toward your right inner elbow, root it flat, and then kick your right heel in toward your sit bone. Reach with the left arm around and back and see if you can grab for your foot. Quad stretch. If you need a little more, you can press the heel of your hand to the roots of your toes and then turn your fingertips to point forward. And continue driving your heel toward the center of that glute. Maybe, last option, press off of the left elbow, coming up to the palm, deepening the sensation that you feel. And really imagine that your breath is combing along the grain of the muscle, untangling any knots. One more breath. And release. Back on the forearms. Right palm turns in toward the left elbow. Kick the left heel in and reach to grab for the top of the foot. And set yourself up where you feel comfortable and take your time in getting there. You can press up to the right palm if that's available. Keep the sensation relatively sweet though. One more breath in. And breathe out and come down. Good. Press into your palms. Make your way back up onto hands and knees. We'll just do a couple more postures. From hands and knees, reach back with the right toes, tuck them, and just shift your weight a little bit back and a little forward, opening through the calf, into the Achilles tendon. And switch. Left toes back, curl them under, and shift your weight forward and back. Good. Last posture before Shavasana. We'll take a reclining saddle pose. It's like child's pose in the legs. The toes are touching, knees are open wide. From here, you might have a bolster or a pillow behind you. You can also set up the blocks to lie back on to get a little chest opening. From here, you'll lift your hips and wiggle your pelvis forward. So it's like the space between your heels is creating that saddle for your butt. And then maybe you stay upright if you're feeling a lot of sensation here. You can come down to the forearms and maybe release all the way down to lying on your back. Continue to keep the knees heavy to gravity as well as the shins. Close your eyes and let your body melt. And just know that all you have to do here is to let go. Easier said than done. But just stay with the breath and with your experience. Begin to gradually make your way back up, going out the way you came in reverse. So if you're laying all the way back, come onto the forearms first, and then back up to the palms. Lean your weight forward, bring your hands forward, and come on down to a seat. You can use props to come into Shavasana if you'd like, maybe resting the pillow under your knees or under your head. Or I'm going to take more of a supported fish, so the blocks will go under the back of the heart to create a chest expansion. And wherever you end up, find your way onto your back. Find your comfortable resting pose. And then allow the weight of your body to fall into the surface beneath you. You're receiving gravity through every cell. Allow the brain to soften. And allow yourself to fully surrender into your deep rest. You're welcome to stay and keep resting as long as you're able. When you're ready to come back to life, deepen your breath, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. And depending where you are, you might take a long body stretch. And gradually start to make your way up to a seat. You can come through a fetal pose if you'd like. And we'll meet back in Sukhasana. Easy seat. Sit bones down, long spine. Eyes are closed. The palms can rest either up or down on your thighs, closing the eyes. Just take a couple breaths here, fully inhaling from the low belly, through the sides of the ribs, and all the way to the surface of the collarbones. As you exhale, just let the breath settle deep into your hip creases, relaxing, opening. Notice anything that has shifted as a result of this slowing down, this reflective, restorative practice. And now draw your palms together at heart center. Find a moment of gratitude for your body and everything it does for you. And lift your heart to your thumbs and bow your chin into your chest. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me today. I hope that you're feeling good. I hope that this was a chance for you to slow down and connect more inwardly. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, you can do that down below. You can also join as a monthly donation member. Both of these options really help to support me so that I can continue to create free content. I hope that you're doing well wherever you are. I hope you have a beautiful day or night, and I'll see you in the next class. Bye.